I'm sure you clicked on this video kind of searching the internet like I did, like how do I get my Starlink set up on my Revel or any other sprinter brand here. First off, this works well for me. I'm not going to say it's going to work great for you, but I want to share my tips and tricks for what I've done. Second, I also do have an aftermarket roof rack on my Winnebago Revel. It's a 2022. It's from Tanner Roof Rack. Highly recommend them. Out of Bellingham, Washington. But you can still do the same thing with an OEM Sprinter roof rack if you use some T-slot bolts there. So first off, my goal with my Starlink is to have the cable permanently mounted and fixed into my van, and I'll show you that. Keep the extra cable mounted into my roof for use, and I'll explain that. And always carry Dishy in the Dishy supplied bag here, and take it from my van, set up on the Revel as I go there whenever I need it. So first off, let's show you what I got. All right, so I will show you what I have here. I have a Starlink mount available on their website. So this is currently bolted up here. You can get the concepts of how you would set that up. Second, I have a 75-foot Starlink cable that comes standard with it. And I have all the excess stored on top with the sole purpose of, if I'm ever camping in a spot that is not, you know, open to the skies, but maybe there's a spot off in the distance that is, I could undo the cabling, toss it out there, and maybe get Dishy up in with some signal there. And then I was trying to figure out how to keep the end protected. So this is basically like a Cat 6 cable almost. And I really wanted to keep the end protected from the elements here, and I went back and forth on what to do here. And I thought this is pretty simple. I just got a weather sealed block from Harbor Freight, and you can see I cut a little notch here and here, and now the dish cable can sit in here all secure and stay, this element can stay dry from the elements there, which is what was most important to me. So that's how I've done that. And now let me show you this in action. So here I've got Dishy in the mount, the Starlink dish in the mount. I've taken the cable out of the box, and it's technically ready to go once I power it on downstairs. And let me show you how that works downstairs. I'm in a van off the roof. All right, so let me get some lights on in here. It's a little dark to see here. So my goal was to get Starlink permanently mounted in here. If you're not familiar with Starlink, it basically comes with a long cable and a router that cable plugs into. This is a Wi-Fi access point router type thing. And this needs to plug into AC power. Now for all those people out there saying, hey, there's a hack to get Starlink to run on DC. I know. That said, in a van this expensive, I'm not comfortable modifying electrical components that are meant to work one way, even though they might work another way. So if you're doing that, more power to you. I'm not willing to do that in my van here, but there is a hack for that, and if you're interested in that, Google it. So what I've done is I had them being Auto Tacoma FX. So if you're in the Pacific Northwest, I cannot recommend them enough. They are the nicest people to work with, very honest and thorough. I'm not affiliated with them. I just really appreciate them. And if you're interested in getting in contact with someone, you can speak to Nathan, say, hey, I watched Sean's video and I'm interested in getting this done on my van, and he could walk you through the steps. So from here, what they've done is they've actually come through my outlet or my inlet from above on that's standard on the Winnebago Revel. They've gained access into that. They had to fish it the opposite direction, because if you look at that end, that's pretty thick end, and that's what has to come in here, and it's hard to make that angle, whereas on the upper end it's pretty much straight. It almost looks just like this. So they've run this in here, and what I have to do when I'm ready to start up the Starlink system is, all right, so to get this thing set up, it really takes just 5 minutes to be in a spot, get the dish up, get this plugged in, get everything plugged into this, and then turn Dishy on and get it associated with the satellites in your area and actually get signal. And I apologize, I'm right by an airport here, and apparently they're flying a lot there. So from here, got the router, right? I just have to plug this into my AC outlet, and then plug this in to the router, And I don't know if I'm going to leave it up in here with the door closed or not. I actually keep a lot of components up in there. I do a lot of vlogging and stuff, so I have a lot of camera batteries and stuff that I normally charge up there, and I don't want the heat to get too much. But I may keep it up there with the thing closed. Otherwise, I can bring it down like this. I asked for enough cable to essentially have a little service loop to where I can set it here if needed and be connected in, or I can just keep the door open and connect it in there. So once again, I had Nathan with Auto Tacoma FX, Tacoma Auto FX. I coordinated with him and kind of went through my concept here, and his team got it done. So I really recommend, if you are going to have this done and it's not something that you're comfortable with doing yourself and you're in the area, consider working with them there. So once again, to recap, I can get this thing set up and on the internet in the middle of nowhere in about 5 minutes. I could take it back down in less than that. It's really a game changer, especially if you work remote or you just need signal out in the middle of nowhere to get this done. And finally, if you found this interesting, I typically make, just lifestyle videos where we actually kind of show ourselves out in the beautiful country that we live in, and hopefully you enjoy that. But I also do a product review here and there, things that work for me. I've had a lot of people to ask about the mods on my van, and I'll do a review on that coming up next, specifically on the outside of the van first. But I think mods are really individualized, and not all mods that I have are right for you, and vice versa. But I'm happy to do that video as well and explain my why for those. And if it makes sense to you, awesome. Maybe you want to consider that as well. But for now, if you enjoyed this video, I would love a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, or just seeing the Pacific Northwest, consider liking, subscribing, and I hope you get out there and are still online.